Welcome to lovely Roz. Roz, what are we talking about this week?
I'm going to follow on from the theme that Phil had last week. He just talked generally about picture books. So this week I'm talking about picture books, but talking about ones that help a child with some not so nice behaviours. Things like hitting or stealing or not sharing, forgetting to ask about things, those kind of things that are normal behaviours for kids, but having a book to read to them and explain to them why it's not nice and what you can do instead is always a good thing.
So are these stories about people who do these things, or are they stories about how to change a child's behaviour?
Most of them are stories about children that do these things. There's a lovely series, the You Choose series. So the three that I've just got here at the moment: Don't Get Angry Annie, Hand It Over Harry, and Wait Your Turn Tilly. So each of them have a situation that the child is in. So in Hand It Over Harry, he likes to take things that don't necessarily belong to him. So he's in the park and somebody drops some money. So he has three choices. He can call out to the person and say, hey, you dropped your money. He can stand on the money and pretend it's not there, or he can just quietly pick it up and take off with it. So it's each scenario has those three choices, and it talks through with the child what's the best thing to do.
So those are kind of moral dilemmas, more than behavioural, or are
Well, it's still the stealing, the aspect of stealing, just talking about why it's not a good idea. Then we've got another series, and two which are my favourites, are Hands Are Not For Hitting and Tails Are Not For Pulling. And it's amazing how often we get asked for both those books. I got the Tails Are Not For Pulling when I realised that we were having quite a few questions from parents about my child is just mean to the pet. So Tails Are Not For Pulling talks about the cat and the dog and how you behave around those animals, and they don't like to be teased, just like we don't like to be teased. And I should point out that that series and the You Choose series, in fact, most of the books that I'll be talking about have, as Phil pointed out last week too, sections at the back for parents. So yeah, really good. And then the Hands Are Not For Hitting is in that same series. So that's just the basic, what can you do when you're frustrated, when things are not going your own way, when you want to be the boss? What are the options? It's lovely because it talks about the good things our hands can do. Petting the dog, making something, giving something to somebody.
So I guess in some ways they are ways of approaching these subjects with children without necessarily just being cross with them all the time.
Yeah. There's nothing, you're not accusing a kid, or you're just telling the story, and hopefully some of that will go in. And then we've got one for older children, kids with behaviour challenges. It's designed for the older child to read, but if they're not up to reading it, it does give the teacher or parent or whoever's working with the child a really good starting point. They can read it with the child. And again, that's got the situations and what would you do, and it covers all sorts of behaviours. And it talks about building better habits, respect, all those kind of things that you want to instill in a child. And we're still hoping that people will send in some topic ideas that they'd like to know about. So yeah, always looking for ideas and wanting to help people out there with what they need.
Excellent. Thank you, Roz.
See you next time. Get well.
I'll do my best. Thank you.
Okay.